think the art has been a pivotal thing in my life to kind of help me find my position and my space in the world in my own lane.
I studied film because I knew that I didn't want to study music, because in my mind I'm like, I'm going to study music and become a music teacher. So let me study film because at least I've got something else. So like my backup plan to the arts was another career in the arts. Like, where does that make sense? But that's what we did. Being an artist has kind of been, I think, in my blood forever before I even realized it was. My dad loved music. Like, music was big. And he passed away when I was 5 years old. I was about to turn 6. And he had, shortly before he died, he had bought a guitar. And he was planning to learn and never did. In losing my dad, the way I connected with him was through the music. I would often just, especially during the holidays, just engage with a lot of the stuff he owned, and the guitar was one of them. So I would just pull it out, didn't know how to play it, but it was my way of just trying to connect with him. Yeah, I bought this guitar in '95, I think, 3 months before he died. Never got to play it. I mean, I think he played with it, but he never learned. There was even like a VHS tape, which was to learn to play, but he never got to it. I mean, I don't know if he would have really been supportive of me being a musician. Because I don't think he wanted to be a musician. Maybe inside, I don't know. But I don't know that he would have been like from day one, because both him and my mom were very big on academics. But this is it, man. This reminds me of writing songs in the middle of the night, because that's what I used to do. I'd wake up at in the AMs and play this thing and write songs and dream big.
What's the first song you wrote?
So the first song, listenable song I wrote on the guitar, was Eyes for Inspiration. And it was like Lauryn Hill vibes, poetry, rap singing. I mean, rap's kind of rapping, and then there was some singing as well. After that, I wrote... What did I write after that? I don't remember. But I did write Frontlines on this guitar. Frontlines was my first single that I released in 2011, but I wrote it in grade 10 on this guitar. Yeah, I don't know. I always play with these alternatives of what life would have been, but you always come back to what life actually is. That, had he not bought this thing, I don't think it would have even been a concept for me to want to play. So and yet that very thing he did has defined my whole life, which is wild. I just hope he's proud of me. My mom is proud of me, which is amazing, despite everything I've gone through. She's super proud of me. I hope he's proud.
Sure, Coco.
So.
Uzihlaphile namhlanje. Ushani shade, Coco.
Yeah.
Hayi. Yeah, sizokhuluma ke ngestory sami. Mangisho senza documentary. Mara nginithombe angazi ngisesumntwana ngisakhula. But sifuna ukwazi ukuthi ithombe ezikuphi.
Ithombe zakho
Yeah.
zathathwa ubaba. Besina 5 yama-album. Wayithatha walahleka nazo nje balahlekile.
Hamba. Hayi. Sesizazithola ke asazi. Yeah.
What inspired me to get into the arts was my dad and my mom. My dad plays the trumpet, plays drums. My mom was part of the drum majorates growing up. She's part of the choirs, etc.
Yabona umculo bokhona emndenini bathi mina ngisisihlabeleli. Yeah, mina ngikwazi nje ukuhlabelela. And nokucula ngoba ubabakho bekathanda umculo. Bengiya because ngishade naye. Bengithanda into ayithandayo ngoba engafuni ukuthi kuclash. That's why bengiya kulowo mculo loyo. And nokucula ngifundiswe uye mina. Ngoba nje mina bengawazi amachuma.
Ubhimba.
Mina bengiyibhimbi namanje. Vele bekavela athi kimi ngicule nabafana ngoba bekezwa vele ukuthi ayilo ushona ngapha kutena. Yabona. So ukuhlukanisa ukuthi khona bo first part nabo second part mina ngifundiswe uye vele. Yeah. But yena umculo even namanje into zakhe vele yena.
Manje koko ngoba bonke abantwana bakho bakulezi zinto zama-art. Yimi ngangena ulungile nangolunga naye. Angisho ngoba mina ngifunda ifilimu bese no ginger naye. Waya khona uthola degree. Nolunga naye ufuna ukuya khona.
Yeah, ngoba even nolungile nakathi yena ufuna ukuyenza le film engwathi. Hey nami ngiyi1. Ngathi ngusana. Shuthi umuntu ohlupheka kuze ukuthi ambe. Ngoba naye nje leyithathayo uthatha nje ngilo nero kodwa ngoba into ayithandayo angeke ngize ngithi hayi ngime endleleni yakhe yabona.
Initially, when I started, it was purely for fun. And then in high school and in university, what I wanted to get out was sharing my thoughts with the world. I think I have a lot of ideas. I think I tend to be in my head, and a lot is there. And so the art gives me a channel, it gives me a voice, it gives me a medium for me to express all my ideas and see how my ideas then interact with the world.
Who am I? A watchman at my city gates. How I let my city get to the state. Dishing our death in a silver plate. It's all a lie, we excusing our mistakes. Look at how the stakes have gone higher. Her last name is Joe Burke, her first name Mariah.
I think for as long as I've been alive, I've been involved with the arts, with some form of creative expression. So yeah, that's, I would say in a nutshell, that's just been me my entire life.
So I was at AFDA doing writing and directing, doing film, meanwhile performing. And yeah, the two just kind of went together. Then I got signed to a record label in my second year, released my first project 2 years later. And after I graduated, I was like, I'm gonna go win a Grammy. I'm gonna be South Africa's jewel. And so I pursued music like full time for, about a decade.
But the right ring, so I'm telling you again, you the main thing, yeah, you are. And we still gon' fall off. The bases beat across, Christ our sauce, G.
You want to hear that whole thing through?
Let's just add lips.
Back it up. Okay, let me just take out your buffing here. Or whatever.
Yeah, word up.
Tell us what you're doing, Doug.
We in the stew. Came into the studio to record Exile Republic. And we're doing, I don't know, like track 3. Out of like 9 songs.
And when did you start?
I can't say. It's been over a year.
There we go.
But there's a reason why it's been a year. And you'll hear why it's been a year.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder, knowing who's my sunshine in my winter? I'm trapped in Hell's Kitchen and I'm cooking her dinner. I'm bitter, so I'm fighting with my inner. She showered me with many lies, told me I was cleaner. But I'm a sinner, and that's when the real truth comes to me. Though her deception tastes much better. I drink from a cup of wine, life like a killer. I think I'm getting better, but my sin is getting iller.
So I released my first project, my first official project in 2014, end of 2014 into 15. That went well, you know, that opened up doors for me, performed on some national stages, got to tour the continent as well, went to Europe and did a tour there. So that was really great momentum for me in the music and seeing how this thing could be built up as a career. So 2017, when I released my sophomore project, Exile Republic, that project was dope. The launch was sold out. We actually did it at one of the SABC studios. So it was really cool, man. And I thought, yo, man, this is us building and getting closer to the dream, as it were.
Sin is addicted to false sunshine.
Anytime
Now
she
we get mercy when you know that. We all sin is addicted to false sunshine.
Anytime she goes away.
Hey.
Cause we all sinners addicted to false sunshine. Yeah.
People received it very well, and then started getting PR companies around me wanting to get radio plugs, wanting to grow the reach, and that's when things just started feeling weird. Money was there, the team was there, the relevant people were there, but the weird thing is nothing happened. Like literally nothing happened. You know, when I'm calling people to come do stuff, like there's always something. When I'm trying to meet up with the PR companies, there's always something. Like there's just people are pushing me back. And it felt like I was in a weird standstill. I just couldn't understand what was going on. I didn't know, man. It was weird. That thing was rough, man. That thing robbed my soul. And then 2018 happened. So we actually had started a relationship with our business partner. So I started with my wife, Citygate Recordings, and that's where we wanted to release most of our music and work under. So we got our business partner to join Citygate, and then he came in 2016. And then 2018, we just found out that, Stude has been stealing money from us since the day he joined. And just to find out that somebody, was basically like two-facing, and saying one thing to you but living something else behind your back, especially for something as precious as our dream, as something we wanted to use as a means to provide for ourselves, build our families, live a better life. Yeah, that sucked, man. Yeah, that sucked, right? That sucked. The stronger language in my head. But yeah, that was whack. That was whack, bro. And that's when I was just like, man, I'm done with all of this stuff. When the business of the art, particularly the business of music, became part of my journey, that kind of sucked the joy out of the arts. So when I think of my music, and obviously, like a lot of it was saturated with like Christian themes, the gospel, etc., etc. But even then, I was like, yo, man, this thing is sucking joy out of my faith, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's my pick?
Which pink?
The triangle thing that looks like this.
You mean like this?
Yes, that's the one I need. Thank you. You can play with that one.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to pick a song for this performance tomorrow. So they want something uplifting, and I don't feel very uplifted right now, but you know. So I think Goodness of God is a nice choice.
I think I don't.
Push the boundaries till they know what boundaries don't go to where your anger grows. I'll trade your negativity. I promise I've got better things. I'll trade your negativity. I promise I've got better things. I'll trade your negativity. I promise I've got better things.
Thank you. I bumped into this lady who I haven't chatted to in a while, and she saw me with the guitar case, and she's like, "Oh, are you gonna go perform?" And I'm like, "No, I just finished." She's like, "Oh no, and I missed it. I haven't heard you sing in forever." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I've just been going through a lot." And she's like, "Are you better now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm better than I was." And she's like, "So are you back to your talent?" And I don't know why that like hit me. Like, which is like that phrase of "Are you back to your talent?" I don't know. There was something. I'm still trying to process what that was. When I released my first album, just the release of it, I was so excited. And I found out that the album was out via the label. I think sent me a Facebook tag. And I was like, what? Like, it was just not how... Like, you don't imagine... I've actually never spoken about how that felt. Like, you don't imagine this big moment you've been waiting for your whole life will just be so just like blip. And I remember being like, aren't we supposed to have like an event? Aren't people supposed to come? Isn't this supposed to be? And from that point, there was just a lot of moments like that. Like I had many almosts, and that was the biggest heartbreak. I did a lot of things that people would say, that's really cool. But for me, it was, I did a one-woman show, and I think I sold like about, was it 120 tickets? And I think within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it was sold out. Best believe I had done a lot of one-woman events, or maybe I've been booked as the main act at whatever it is. But this was my first 100%. I put down the money. It was my band. It was my show. And I got to do whatever I wanted in that show. And people came, and I looked amazing, and I felt amazing. And I think that was it sounds bad, but I feel like that was the one time in my career where everything kind of came together. And it felt like, this is how it's supposed to be.
7 years down in the underground, and it's dark. You gave it your heart. Yes, you did. Your heart.
2019 comes, I record the last project that exists from me called Redemption. And I mean, there's a lot of heartbreak in that album because I was just like, you know what, whatever, this is my last project, I'm done, I just want to do it. And I did it, and I remember that I loved recording, and then we decided that we were gonna go back to touring 2020, and we booked a bunch of venues. And our first show was in Joburg at the Joburg Theatre. Like, it would look weird, unnatural, because there's nowhere for me to be. I can't even all the way. Outlet sharp augmented profile and flat B minus sharp. Just get the feeling. Yeah.
Who's gonna save me now? 'Cause I know that I've gone too many times this endless
We
have
an
an
announcement.
So what if you believed again, but a little differently this time?
What if you showed up for yourself?
What if you were present?
Imagine that. We are present.
And this was around the time where COVID is like there's whispers, right? Like things are happening. And those who are woke are like, I'm not going anywhere. The rest of us are like, no, it's just China. It's not here. And our show was actually about 5 days or something, or a week before the lockdown. Like we did more marketing for that show than we had done for any other shows.
I think when COVID happened, that was also hard because we were, me and my wife, trying to be more present for ourselves in our arts and our music. We thought, okay, maybe now, we've kind of regrouped. Let's then take the next step again and have, just new energy. It's a new decade. Obviously, there was a buzz around that. And so we're like, okay, dope, man. For the next 10 years as well, let's try and build harder, go harder, just try and put in as much as we want to into this thing, bet on ourselves.
Where's your plate? So, yeah, 2020. I was just... Quack, quack, quack.
Can you reach? Let me get them for you.
It's stuck. No, I can do it.
Remember our YouTube video? Anyway, so 2020 supposed to be, and then it didn't just happen to us; it happened to everybody. But I think because of the baggage I was already coming with, I was just like God, you stay closing these doors, so it's okay,
And I remember you made the statement recently, that at some point you feel like you want God to live your life for you. And sitting here, even hearing that, God might have had a different plan, I'm like, Fana Angas, all I know is that we made decisions. And if I was sitting around the boardroom with like a bunch of shareholders, here's my plan, here's what we made, this thing didn't turn out the way we had dreamed, planned, wanted to do things. I'm like, we weren't gonna have a kid before this thing at least was stable enough, but then we also didn't want life to just pass us by.
Yes.
Because we're just waiting for this thing to, and it's not that it didn't take off, but it just didn't have the returns, man. It's the making of the decisions, and then they're like, boing, boing, yeah.
And I think that's what was so hard. Why if you say I wanted to quit from 2016 and I only did it in 2021, it's 5 years. It was a 5-year decision, because there's that feeling of like, what if I miss out on something?
Yeah.
What if this is the moment? And then you kind of go, listen, I can't live in what if. Yeah. I'm in now, and this is what I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
And a lot of my life was spent like saying, no, but you're living for my mom would always be like, bro, you can't, you need to make decisions and be sober minded, and and also it stopped feeling good.
It did.
So even though I could be like, I'm in the clouds, but at least I'm happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't even happy anymore.
Yeah.
So then it's not worth it. Like, it's like, this isn't worth it. It's the joy is gone. On top of that, it's sucking from me in every aspect. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
I have a kid now.
Yeah, 100.
And I remember looking out in the venue. Black was opening. He opened the show, and I was backstage, and there was a curtain, and there was a little hole, and I peeked through, and not only was the turnout like not great, but it was mainly like friends and family, which you appreciate, but after a while it kind of becomes embarrassing when it's like it's only your friends and family that are coming, and like, ooh, this is awkward. I remember looking out and being like, I'm done. I've actually never thought of, so like, You know how like the 2020 concert, like I remember Ania was just born. She was like 2 months old. And she was there. Yeah,
She was there. Yes.
And like, so like that night, right? I mean, we've spoken about it. Like it was rough. Like that night was rough. Like the performance was nice. I enjoyed performing, but because of what that night was and just being like, shucks, here we go with family and friends. I've never actually asked, because there's that embarrassment. I don't know if it's embarrassment or just like like, was that weird for you guys?
What, to be there?
No, not to be there. Like, to be there and to see, like, it's the same faces you're seeing.
For us?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Really?
I have never ever thought of an audience or like who's here and who's not. No. And I've seen you perform so many times.
A lot.
And all of the performances were different. Or I am there singing my lungs out. Because first of all, you must know that I know all her songs. So get it right. But it's never been like, who's here? Who's not here?
It was that night I made that decision. I couldn't understand that. How can we work so hard and it just felt like that was the picture of what my career was, where so much effort, so little output.
And I was at a point where I'm like, man, I can't keep on doing this to my family. I can't keep on taking from us just so that we can feed this thing that's not giving us any money back. There was also other things around social media that I was just not vibing with, because it just felt like I was robbing my real life so that I could feed my online life. So it just became noisy, and I was like, man, I'm done with all of this stuff.